Hi, and welcome to Fun Supporters Essex Block of the Month featuring Quilted Treasures Fabrics. This is the final episode. I am your host, Jenny K. Parks. If you want to know more about me, you can check me out on my website and YouTube channel, Jenny K. Quilts. So today, we're doing the final assembly. Yay! You made it this far, and I've got a lot of tips and points to share with you. The first thing that I want to tell you is that because it is assembled in an unusual way, we have to work around the medallion in the center. And because of how we've had to press things, you're not going to have that nice nesting thing that we can usually get. We're not going to be able to snuggle those seams together on everything. So I wanted to show you the things that I encountered that were challenges for me and how I worked around it and how I got a nice finished quilt behind me. First thing I want to show you is the inner border. This pieced border that we had here with the 4-patch. Now, a couple of things. One is that because we're working with setting triangles, stuff can get a little wonky, for lack of a better term. It can get a little small or distorted or something. Sometimes things just go all pear-shaped on it. So here's what you can do. There's a couple things. One is that once you get it all together, and this is what I did, and this is my friend for this part here that we're talking about. This is my spray bottle. It's just water in there. What I did is I put this up on my design wall. I stretched them out the size that they needed to be. You know, I made them nice and flat just the way I wanted them. Then I spritzed them with the water and you let it dry. It's called blocking. It's not cheating, I swear. But you put it on there and you let it dry. And you may have to do that a couple of times to get it into the right shape. But it's all right to do. If you need to do that with the center block or any of the other blocks on here, that's perfectly fine. Perfectly fine to do that. That spritzing with water and then maybe iron pressing with some starch on there or some best press, any of those will help you out a lot. All right, so here I am, I'm looking at this, and remember I talked before about this one. I don't trim those off until they are the right size that I want them to be, until I'm done with blocking and everything's ready. So we'll say that this is all done and ready to go. So I would put my ruler on there and I would line up, if you could look down here, it doesn't matter where this line is, but I just want to make sure that on my 1/4 inch, it's lined up on all of the seams, and then I would trim all that part off before I put it together. So you'd trim that up and make that look nice and neat. Now, your solid borders that you're going to have in here may be your salvation. If things are a little skewed, this can really help you because say this is the exact size, this tan fabric is the exact size that it needs to be, and I may need to stretch this out a little bit, that's all right. This may be baggier when I put it on. I hope not that much, but it may be a little bit baggier when I put them together. So what you do in that event, if you have a baggier part and then a part that's smaller, if you want to put them together, put the baggier part on the bottom, the baggy bottom. You put that on there and then your feed dogs help take up that extra stuff. Another trick too, if I'm going along with my sewing machine, right, and I got my sewing machine there and I'm trying to ease these two together, if you hold it up like this while it's sewing, right, since being fed into the machine there, that will also help to ease it in. And we like doing it this way anyways because we can see all the little X's that we need to meet so that we can keep our points. So that's how to put those together. Again, anytime you feel like you need to set it aside and block it from, you know, put it in timeout, spritz it with water, let it dry, feel free to do that to get it to be the right shape. Okay, so there's a few different things that you're going to assemble, and I want you to see how you're going to do them together. Because we had to press towards the dark, because of the lightness of these two fabrics, we're not going to be able to snuggle, like I was saying. We're not going to be able to snuggle those in. So what I did is I put them together like this, and you match them up just as close as you absolutely can. So I match them up there, and then I take just a little pin and I put it as close in that intersection as I can and pin it. And just in that spot is enough to make it marry up and have it be really nice and give you a nice seam there. So that I just stitch down this part, press, and you're good to go. The next one where you will encounter problems here is this guy. There'll be a couple times that you have to put this together. And again, because of how we pressed, things are not going to marry nicely. But we do have two that we can match. So fold that over. And I can kind of pinch. I can pinch and tell where it is. So I'm going to put my pin right in there where I pinched it on both sides. Now if you find, say we're doing this, if you find that like this top one is bigger, baggier than the other one, flip it over or do like I was showing that little technique just in that small section to ease it all in together. It's a dressmaking tip, the easing things in, because you have to do that a lot when you're in garment construction. And it's all right to use things from there into here. In fact, it might make things better for you. Okay, so here we have this one, and this needs to go together. And again, we have nothing that we can marry. We can just kind of lay them on top of each other, but we want to be sure to keep our points. So to handle that part, be sure to sew them in this direction so we can see our X's that we're going to meet. X marks the spot, right? Because the point is the point. And when you do it that way, you'll be able to keep all of your points there. So that's how to put those in together. Now, this one is probably the trickiest. There's a couple occasions where you encounter this. And we need to match these points right there. And there's no folds, there's no nothing to help guide us except pinning. So I'm going to show you a couple ways. One, what I would do here is I would take a pin and I'm going to put it right through the point. I kind of fold these things out of the way a little bit so I can get to it nicely. I'm going to put it right through the point as close as possible. Oops, I'm a little off. Let me try that again. There, as close as possible. And then I'm going to come in this side and I'm going to poke it through there at the very top. Now I keep this pin upright. You want to keep it straight in there, not curved over to the side, not up and down like that, because that's changing where your points are meeting. So you keep them upright, nice like that. Now I'm going to take a pin and I'm going to put it really super close to the seam there on one side, and then on the other side. Now I want you to notice something here too. My seam allowances, well, they're doing it this time, but they might not match up perfectly. That's okay, as long as we keep that point and you're not too far over so that you have a hole, and a gap in your stitching, then you're going to be fine. Now, if you're really having trouble, and I have done this, no shame, I'm proud to admit it. So I pin this, right, and we'll say these are pinned just right. I'll do that same technique, pin them together. And you might see that's a little shy. It's not quite 1/4 of an inch there, but that's okay. We're going to make it work. And the point is, in situations like that, to look at it, figure out what you did wrong, and then next time try to do it differently. All right, so I kind of lined those up. They're really close together. I'm going to fold back just a little bit in the seam allowance. Take a tiny bit of glue stick and put it in the seam allowance. And I'm telling you guys, this glue stick is my hero. I love it. Because it's perfect for things like this. And I've tried everything else and I can't get it to work, this will do it. And then you put those together really well and then sew. And the glue stick is washable, it'll come out. And I've never had any issues with it gumming up the different machines that I've used. So it works really well. So that's different tips of how to put it together. Again, follow the assembly instructions that are in there and just do it a section at a time. What I found when I was assembling it is I had to lay it all out on the floor and then do a portion at a time. And then I'd sew those and I'd come back and check, did I get it right? Did I turn it around? What did I do there? And just to make sure that everything is the way that I wanted it to look. This is one of those quilts where that's important to do, but it's also worth doing. So that's it, guys. I hope that you have learned a lot. I hope you've been entertained, and I hope that you are encouraged to complete your quilt so that you can have something like this to display for yourself. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you soon. This episode of Essex Block of the Month is brought to you by Quilting Treasures. Imagine and create.